Hey, and welcome to Let's Play World of Warcraft. This is your host, Particle Man, and today we're going to be running Heroic Pit of Saron. We just went ahead and did the first pool before I started recording, so we're going to go ahead and pick it up from there. This first pool is a Necromancer guy and a bunch of skeletal minions. If you got AoE, it's going to be a pretty easy pool because they die really fast. I'd highly recommend against your casters there not using too much AoE because those other guys are going to die and consecrate anyway. So might as well just kill the main guy. He has some kind of curse beam that like tries to stack on you. I can't remember what it does, but I think it might increase the damage you take. It's not really going to matter. Now, if you notice this pat on the left just went over to the left, obviously. But if you're quick enough, you can just run by like we did there, and then go ahead and pick up these three skeletal warriors and jump off this little cliff. Making sure you stay to the left over here because on the right you see the dragon padding by, and you don't have to fight him if you can get over there. So these guys are just all melee, don't really do a lot. However, you might want to note that for casters, or actually I think any ranged, they throw something called Clump of Dirt. I think that's what it's called. It's really annoying because it stuns you for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 seconds, and they throw it constantly. Now, I didn't even notice it for the longest time, and then all of a sudden it started hitting me when I took one of my ranged guys in here. So, just a warning to you that it's a pain in the butt because they continually do it over and over. And I think they might have one more thing that's some kind of stun. And I don't know if you can get out of range of it or not. I haven't played with it enough, but just kind of be aware that might happen. And it could happen to your healer, so you might have to use Divine Shield or something. Or if you're a warrior, shield wall. I mean, it kind of sucks to use it on that, but that is a three mob pool, and they do a pretty good amount of damage. Now, if you run real quick, you can pick up the skeleton and this dragon at the same time, and then keep on moving back a little bit because that other dragon pat's walking around there. You don't want to pick up both of them. Make sure you're facing this guy away from the group, not like he is right now, but because he's going to do a big AoE kind of breath weapon type deal. And as you can see, I'm taking tons of damage, so I wouldn't pull both of these unless you have some pretty good gear. I'm guessing around 4,600 gear score and minimum, as long as you have the right gear on, because they do a ridiculous amount of damage. But it's just pretty normal fight. I don't know that the guy that is on top of the dragon is that much of a threat, so I wouldn't really worry too much about him. I mean, you have to kill him when he jumps off there, but he might just throw like javelins or something. That's what most of those guys do. So we're going to come up here to the first boss fight, which you really want to try to get up here before your group does, and you can mount up in here. So I suggest to mount up and get in there as quick as possible, as long as your healer's ready, because as soon as you run in here and aggro this guy, you'll notice a bunch of undeads running, see, coming in from the sides. If you're the only one up there, you'll get aggro. As you can see, I don't know who did what, but all of a sudden all those guys changed target. But I got it back there. I don't know if it was the paladin healing me or maybe he did a holy shock or something. Anyway, you just want to get all those guys rounded up and killed real quick because they're non-elites. So this guy's big thing is he keeps on, see that big aura that's coming out? He puts stacks on you, and every like 2 seconds he does that, right? And so he's got all these stacks building up on you. And our healer, we had a hunter that was doing the quest. That's why we got this ad during the fight. This big skeleton's not part of this fight. So what he's going to do, he keeps on putting these stacks on you, and it increases the amount of damage you take. I think it might be frost damage. And so as it goes on and on, you're going to be hurting pretty bad, because that AoE puts stacks on you and does damage. So if you have 20 stacks of that, you're just going to get killed in like one shot. What he's going to do is he's going to throw this Saronite, and it's going to fly over and hit the ground. That's what he's doing right now. And what you're supposed to do is whenever you have 10 stacks, you're supposed to run behind the Saronite, break line of sight with the boss. See what we're doing right now? And like after 4 seconds, your stacks will fade. So you should see the little blue thing up in the top right. It just went away. That's where my debuff was. So if you're a DPS or a healer, if you're a healer, you might heal through it. I don't know. I like getting behind the rocks, but if you're DPS, definitely do it because it's kind of dumb for the healer to have to dump heals into you just because you're not taking the 4 seconds to go run behind a rock. Of course, now everybody's gear is so good it probably won't matter. You can just burn them down, but that's how you're supposed to do it. Alright, so we downed him without too much complications. And I think down here we had another little hiccup where our hunter went and pulled. I think we might have even. I think our healer might have died because I wasn't aware the hunter was doing the quest, and so he pulled another one. And I think we get that here in a second. And I think the healer might even go down because of it, because I didn't know it was happening. Or maybe not. Okay, maybe I'm a bamf and just picked it up. No, I'm just playing. Alright, so these guys just normal. They did a little clump of dirt, but apparently they don't do it all the time. I haven't really read as to why or when they do it. But what you're going to come up to here is there's a group of geists, I think they're called, and they kind of ambush you. And I even think they're called ambush geists or something like that. So if you see that, you should be kind of leery of them. They're just going to come jumping down right when you get to the edge here. I'll show you where you need to start being careful. So you want to mount up right after you kill this guy. Unless you're just way ahead of your group. There you go. Mount up. And these guys are going to jump down from the top of the cliff, and there's a couple there on the ground. Maybe they don't jump down. I thought they did. Okay. Anyway, they're undead, so if you're a paladin, you're in luck because you can pretty much consecrate, round them up, and then holy wrath them. And that helps quite a bit. So it's just, it can really jump up on you if you're not paying attention, because they'll just come out and start attacking everybody if everybody was down there with me. And, you know, if you got a priest healer, they're just going to get eaten up pretty quick. And if you don't have really good AoE, then that will also happen. Although I think most classes of tanks have a pretty good AoE now that they changed druids, so there's pipe hits everything. So you shouldn't have to worry about that too much. So these guys are kind of a pain in the butt. Always go down that ramp and pick up that guy because he will be the one you always miss, or he'll come up on you during a fight. So pretty much we do 2 at a time just because, I don't know, it's quicker that way and we had good DPS. But they just take and hurl this acid. You see it just hit our healer. They just constantly keep throwing that. Well, I guess it's like poison or something. But they just keep throwing it about once every 8 seconds, 10 seconds, something like that. And keep putting those spots on the ground. You just got to make sure that you're moving out of them. And it's kind of like a prelude to this boss fight to give you some kind of idea of what's going to happen. But that's all they do. They just keep smacking you and throwing that crap on the ground. So you have to keep on moving, which is kind of annoying, but it's not really that difficult. And they're all dragging around these big boulders. I'm not sure as to why. There's probably a lore reason or something. Maybe they're building, I don't know, Lich King's castle. I mean, I think it's already built, but I don't know. So anyway, you just run around and kill all those guys. And you can cleanse, if you're a paladin tanking, cleanse the poison off yourself. Which is kind of, you don't have much to do anyway, so you might as well cleanse it off there. Now this boss has some abilities that are kind of similar to these guys. He will throw out that slime, and so your DPS has to be moving quite a bit just to, you know, make sure they're staying out of it. I think he uses every ability he has this time. Let's check and see. So there goes the slime, and you got to keep moving out of that. Toxic waste. That's what his ability's called. And let's see. He has another ability, which I hope he uses here pretty soon. Which I might as well just wait until he uses it. Okay, this is the one where he chases you, I believe. Oh no, this is the blast. Whenever he casts whatever that was, I wish I remembered the name, it's a blast. And if you're in it, it's going to do like 20,000 damage and put a poison stack on you. So get out of that quick. You shouldn't be a question. If the tank's running, you should be running. Now this one, he summons these bombs on the ground. Every time you stand still for a second, it's going to start putting a bomb. See how I stood still for a second? It puts a bomb on the ground. You can still DPS through it. Just make sure after like 2 seconds that you move, because they do a decent amount of damage. And you know, your healer, if everybody's just taking them, or if you're all standing next to each other, you're going to blow up. The last thing he does, which I don't know if he's going to do it here, it's called Pursuit. He's going to pick a person and run after him. Like I think he just did, but we're going to kill him. And pretty much what you got to do is you got to stay away from him, because he's going to try to chase you, and if he hits you like twice, for most players, it'll kill you. So you should just be aware of that. and also that if you don't try not to run too far out, because if you run too far away from them, I've seen them reset before. I don't know if they fix that, but it's just a possibility. So run, but just try to run in like a circle, and it only lasts for like 10 seconds or so. Now I think our video is going to cut off here in the middle of this pool, but for these guys, this is probably one of the most difficult pulls in here because these guys do tons of damage. It's good to stun them right there like we did, but you want to kill the Flamebringer first, followed by the big guy that was in the middle that's casting empowered shadow bolts, because they do a ton of damage. I'll tell you about the disease on the next video. Thanks for listening, and we'll pick up where we left off in the next video. Thanks, guys.